What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 2 of Backseat Ball Players. Again, just want to say I appreciate everyone that's tuning in and liking the videos and subscribing, and just keep sharing it all out there for us. We really do appreciate it. For those of you that didn't see the YouTube short I did on Sunday, today's scheduled episode was we were going to go over things going on in the NBA. A lot of trades happening right now. We're going to go over some of that. But we were going to do our mid-season baseball analysis. However, my partner Timmy is out with a sinus infection, so I'm going to postpone the baseball talk until next week. But we're just going to go over some basketball things really quickly. This episode is going to be a little shorter, so hopefully that's okay. Just want to say, as of today is Tuesday. This episode will be dropping tomorrow on Wednesday. So as of now, the Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champions. They won on Sunday in Game 7. Unfortunately, Tyrese Halliburton went down. Looks like he tore his Achilles. Obviously, we pray for a quick, speedy recovery for him. It's one of those things, if you didn't watch the game, Halliburton was kind of on a tear. You know, he was kind of lighting it up, if you will, and when that injury happened. So unfortunately, we'll never really know what would have happened if he'd have stayed healthy. Obviously, not taking anything away from the Thunder. They pulled away at the end. They did what they had to do to win. SGA, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, is a dog. He is that guy. They deserve everything that they got. We'll get into more of that as we move along. So just some news and notes. I just want to go over some of the bigger trades that have happened. We're going to go in chronological order as they've happened. So the first one I want to talk about, one of our subscribers, Brad Chavis, had mentioned he really wanted to talk about this because he is an Orlando Magic fan. The first trade that happened, Desmond Bane was traded from the Memphis Grizzlies to the Orlando Magic. The Memphis Grizzlies got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Cole Anthony, and some draft picks. Now, just to dive into this a little bit, I think this was just a win-now move by the Orlando Magic. You know, they did give up KCP and Cole Anthony, who were guards. KCP is a veteran presence on the team. But try to keep in mind for the Orlando Magic, they already have Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, Corey Joseph, and Gary Harris all in the guard position. And they're adding Desmond Bane, who is a bigger body, maybe better shooter, better ball handler at that guard position. I think he's gonna pair really well with Paolo Banchero and Wagner. So I think this was a win for the Magic. Keep an eye on the Grizzlies. I've heard rumors and just my own personal thoughts. A lot of the Grizzlies players are wanting out. They don't want to be there anymore. We could see some more moves coming soon. So my personal opinion, I think the Magic kind of won that trade. They did give up KCP, Cole Anthony, but again, with the guard-heavy room that they have, I don't really think they lost all that much, and they added Bane. So that's all for that trade. Also, we had the big trade that I'm sure everyone knows about, and this may be an unpopular opinion, but that's what we do here. The Rockets get Kevin Durant. The Phoenix Suns get Jalen Green, Dillon Brooks, the 10th overall pick, and 5 second-rounders. Now, my personal opinion of this is the Suns won this trade. The last couple of teams Kevin Durant has been on, they haven't done anything. Brooklyn didn't do anything. They constantly were changing coaches, swapping players around. James Harden, Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving. Finally, James Harden left, Kyrie Irving left. Kevin Durant ended up forcing his way to Phoenix. He goes to Phoenix, goes through 2 different head coaches. They don't make the playoffs last year. And he has guys like Devin Booker and Bradley Beal on the team with him in Phoenix. Ends up forcing Yusuf Nurkic out, who is a big center. And I just think at this point in Kevin Durant's career, I just don't understand the draw of him. He goes to Houston. who now, with what Houston gave up, you know, they do have Fred VanVleet. But I feel like with getting rid of Jalen Green, you lose a lot of athleticism. You do have one of the Thompson twins there. I believe it's Amen Thompson that is in Houston. He is athletic, but he is, to put it nicely, he is offensively challenged. And Kevin Durant may make up for some of that, but you know, we'll see how that goes. However, looking at it from the Suns' point of view, you still have Bradley Beal, you still have Devin Booker. You know, you got, if you're going off of what the mock draft is saying, and the draft is tomorrow, by the way, on Wednesday. If you go by what the mock draft is saying, let's just play the mock draft game and say that they get Murray Boyles from South Carolina. He brings defense, toughness, tenacity. He's a good ball handler. He's a good passer. Very mature for his age as far as a basketball player goes. And don't overlook the 5 second-round picks. I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're second rounders. Most teams use second rounders to help with salary dumps and things like that, to kind of help make the money make sense. So them getting 5 second rounders tells me that they may not be done making moves. I could definitely see them throwing some of, if not all of those second round picks into a package with Bradley Beal to get him out of Phoenix. Now that you have the Jalen Green and the Dillon Brooks, and you pair them with Devin Booker, and if they can just go get a legitimate big man, I think they're going to be just fine. Then we move on to a couple other trades. The Celtics trade Drew Holiday to the Portland Trail Blazers. Celtics in return get Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is a young, up-and-coming player. Hasn't really reached his full potential that most people would think that he had. We'll see how that goes in Boston. Obviously, you know, Jason Tatum, just like Tyrese Halliburton earlier in the playoffs. Tatum tore his Achilles, you know, so wishing a speedy recovery for him, but he's probably going to miss a good chunk of the beginning of the season. So you get Anthony Simons in there as a better offensive player at this point in his career than Drew Holiday. Blazers get Drew Holiday, who, you know, he's a veteran presence for their up-and-coming point guards like Scoot Henderson. And I don't see Drew Holiday as a type of guy that's going to force his way out of Portland. He's a very high-character guy. I think he's going to enjoy playing for Chauncey Billups and being a voice on the court for Chauncey Billups. The thing is, Drew Holiday is 35 years old. He missed 20 games last season. But the main reason the Celtics did this, they had to get under the second level of the luxury tax. This trade alone will save the Boston Celtics $40 million in taxes that they were going to have to pay on the absorbent contracts that they have. And I think the emergence of Peyton Pritchard last year, being the sixth man of the year at the guard position, I think that kind of made it a little easier for them to let Drew Holiday go at his advanced age. Then we get to one that's kind of, you know, kind of so-so. I don't really have a lot to say about this one. The Wizards trade Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey and the 40th overall pick to the Pelicans for C.J. McCollum and Kelly Olynyk. C.J. McCollum is a decent guard. He's had a lot of injury issues the last couple seasons. Washington is a little intriguing to me, though, now. When you look at what they have, you know, they got C.J. McCollum now. They add Kelly Olynyk, who is a stretch 5, stretch 4. They drafted Sarr last year, the rookie center. They have Chris Middleton, a veteran. If he can stay healthy, this could be kind of interesting what they can do in the Eastern Conference. The Pelicans getting Jordan Poole and Sadiq Bey. Jordan Poole is a flashy player. Early results of him signing that big deal in Washington say he was a product of the system in Golden State when he was putting up all those numbers, and it did get him a big contract, and kudos to him. I think he is a younger, flashier, less of a team glue guy than C.J. McCollum. Sadiq Bey is just a guy. He's a 3-and-D guy. That team, New Orleans, is really going to try to build around Zion Williamson and just hoping that he stays healthy. And the DeJounte Murray, this seems to be a theme. DeJounte Murray also tore his Achilles last season. You know, they got him now. And, you know, the Pelicans also have a pretty high first-round pick. Then we go to the big one, and this kind of ties into our first episode, if you watched it, when we were talking about the plight of the Atlanta sports fan. So the Atlanta Hawks got involved in the trades today. So the Atlanta Hawks received Kristaps Porzingis. The Celtics received George Niang and a second-round pick. Nets received Terrence Mann and the 22nd overall pick. Now, I want to look at this from a couple different points. So the Celtics moving Porzingis, that was just another salary dump. They had to get some salary off because of all the big contracts that they gave to Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And they're going to have to pay Peyton Pritchard, and these things are just going to start happening. It's the way of the world in sports. You can't pay everybody. Porzingis goes to Atlanta, and he feels a need positionally, skill-wise. I think he averaged 19 points and 7 rebounds a game last year. He's a great shot blocker. However, he has his own injury issues. He is only 29 years old, which is pretty good, but he did miss 40 games last season, which is basically half of the NBA season. If he can stay healthy, and that's going to become a theme for the Hawks this year, if he can stay healthy, Jalen Johnson can stay healthy, I think the Hawks may have something going here. Definitely think they still need to draft a big in the first round. They did give up the 22nd pick to the Nets, but they have another first round pick earlier on. Definitely think they got to get a big to kind of take some of that load off Porzingis. They do have a Kongwu. They need to move Clint Capella out, but we'll see what they do. Celtics get Niang and a second rounder. Again, I think the second rounder is just to make the money work. George Niang is just a guy. He's never going to give you more, I think, than 8-9 points a game in a season. He's just a guy. The Nets receive Terrence Mann and the number 22 pick. Terrence Mann to me is extremely underrated. He's a hustle guy. He's a gritty guy. But don't sleep on the 22nd overall pick, simply because if you've been paying attention to what the Nets have been doing, the Nets have 5 first-round picks now. 5. And I seriously doubt they're going to just take 5 rookies with those picks. So look for them to either move up in the draft or possibly use some of those picks to get a star player to them, to Brooklyn, to help them out. Still got a couple of names out there that are floating around. Be on the lookout for Giannis being traded from Milwaukee. I think that could come sooner rather than later. Also, you never know with after the Luka Doncic trade, you just never know. And as crazy as this might sound, I did read an article today that said the owner and GM of the Denver Nuggets have not completely ruled out the possibility of trading Nikola Jokic. As crazy as that may sound, you might have even just turned the video off after I said that because it's so asinine. But again, these things happen. These GMs, I think, are kind of starting to get to a point where they think they're smarter than everyone else in the room. And they start making these big blockbuster deals to try to prove it's not the player, it's me. I can build this. The player doesn't really matter, it's me. I can build a winning team. And they're going to be sadly mistaken if that actually were to happen. But as of right now, that's all I got for this week's episode. Again, I really appreciate anybody, tuning in and liking the video, sharing, subscribing. Spread the word. We're just getting started out. These things are going to get a lot more cohesive and a lot better as we go. But yeah, I just want to say thank you. Fantastic NBA season. More to come in trades. Draft Wednesday night. Be sure to tune in. I think there's going to be a lot of movement. And let's see what this next crop of talent for the NBA does. But until next week, don't stay in the back seat, and we'll see you.